How to start virtual wholesaling real estate in 2025. What is up, guys? Zach in here, and in today's video live stream, I'm here to tell you exactly how in 2025 you could start getting your first virtual wholesaling deal, or probably you're watching this and you're trying to get maybe your second, third, fourth. You want to get some traction, you want to get some success, and just start having more deals. This is also a great tutorial of just a refresher of how the game has really changed from last year, this year in virtual wholesaling real estate, or really just how to get started in virtual wholesaling, right? So I think the first part about getting into virtual wholesaling is we first have to understand, what is virtual wholesaling? And a lot of people think virtual wholesaling is wholesaling, wholesaling is virtual. Now, tomato, tomato to a lot of people. But what I've personally found is in-person wholesaling, a lot of the teachings that I teach, just like regular folks or brand new beginners in wholesaling real estate, right? That part of wholesaling is you meet with the seller in person, you physically go in person and sign a contract, and you do all these things. And yes, that is part of virtual wholesaling. Yes, that is a common thing to do in like the wholesaling space. But in virtual wholesaling, what you are doing is you are getting the contract signed virtually. You never physically see the property, and you physically never meet the seller face to face in person. You're doing it in front of the computer, all virtually. Now, this is a lot more different. And a lot of people get really stressed when we start to kind of talk about this, right? Because virtual wholesaling is it's very stressful for people. It's like, well, what if the seller says, why don't you meet me? How do I virtually get a contract signed? How do I do all these things? And it does get a little stressful. So what I'm going to do today is show you how to find these deals, how to get them closed, and then how to dispo them. Now, this is not my entire virtual wholesaling, course guide, because if I did every time I do like an entire virtual wholesaling series on YouTube, mostly it's like 3-4 days. It's like 8 or 9, 10 hours really to get in the nitty gritty of it. This is why I have freewholesaling.com, my free wholesale course and community. But I think for a lot of the people, right, we can really brush through a lot of the more stressful parts. And I love how this is live. So if you have live questions, guys, I'm always here to answer them and help you out with anything you have wholesaling real estate wise. So I'm here to help you with any question you possibly can have, and really how anyone can get their first virtual wholesaling deal. So if you are excited to get your first virtual wholesaling deal, let's break this all down and let's start making some money. Now, I always start, when I talk about finding virtual wholesaling deals, I'm always going to start from the top. I'm always going to get into probably one of the most important parts, which is finding a good virtual wholesaling market. Now, I'm going to repeat myself a lot, and it is going to sound very redundant, and it is going to sound annoying to a point. But the reason is because it's all in here. Now, if you're on YouTube, I'm going to give it to everyone on YouTube. If you're not watching this live on YouTube, you will not be able to get this. So you should just go to freewholesaling.com. It would be way wiser. But I'm going to drop a PDF in the comments. And this is my 26-page PDF guide on how to wholesale real estate. I have a 26-page, it's basically a manifesto, a book. But 26 pages, it's absolutely for free. I give it in my free wholesaling community and course, freewholesaling.com. You hear I said freewholesaling.com 50,000 times. It is the word free, the word wholesaling.com. And what that is, it is a 26-page PDF on how to wholesale real estate. It's like one of the first modules in there. And in that module, I list my top 25 virtual wholesaling markets for 2025. Now, I do rewrite this about every other month. Now, the cool part about this is on my top 25 virtual wholesaling markets. Now, in that PDF, you can just kind of steal any of the top 25. You should be good to go. But another way you can make this really well, right? Another way you can make your top, 20 in your own market, or your top 20 in like your state or wherever you want to virtually wholesale, I would probably tell you that if you can find an area that has a decent population. Again, I care about decent population because when there's a decent population, more likely than not, this means that there's a ton of buyers, or at least enough of buyers. I mean, Los Angeles is not a good virtual wholesaling market, but it's got a big population and there's a ton of cash buyers in Los Angeles, right? I've always found a direct correlation between the population for a city or county and the amount of cash buyers there. Sometimes, New York City is kind of the only exception, I guess, in the entire country, but population is going to be a direct factor on how many cash buyers there are. Now, if we want a direct correlation of how well we can get discounted properties, most likely it is going to be the county population. Now, there are exceptions to this rule. I do wholesale properties frequently in rural markets in Texas. I think that's usually Texas is the only area, and some in Arizona. I don't know why. That if it's like a rural market, it's like 2 or 3,000 people in that city, I could still wholesale that area because somebody from a big city can usually drive out and do it. But outside of like Texas and California, maybe some parts of Louisiana, it is very, very, very difficult to wholesale in an area that has a very, very, very low population. Now, median home price is going to be the best correlation if you're going to be able to get a property for a good discounted value. Usually, due to the law of large numbers, it is very hard to get a 40% discount on a $1 million house. Now, to get a 40% discount on a $140,000 house, I do that a lot. And I think a lot of people here watching this live do that a lot too. I personally, it's very difficult for me, and I always struggle a lot to do 40% discounts on like $700,000 homes. And the correlation I found is the chance that someone's going to give you a discount on their house, like let's do a 40% discount, it drops so fast after like 300,000. Once properties get above 300,000, it gets harder and harder to get big discounts on properties. Now, there are deals where I can lock it up for 340 and sell it for 370. That's great, but you still have to push ARV and you still have to kind of what I call like forcing appreciation here. So the big sweet spot in virtual wholesaling that I've always found is if you can find an area with a high population and a lower median home price. Now, the sweet spot is you want at least 100,000 people in the county and you want at least 400,000 or below the median home price. You can just search median home price for the county on Zillow. It'll pop up the data absolutely for free. I mean, AI has this all now too. So I don't really think that's like a big deal anymore. But virtual wholesaling is going to be all about that correlation with the markets on the median home price for the county and the population. There are always exceptions to this rule. It's usually California, Texas, but outside those two markets, it's very hard if there's a city with only 500 people in it in Ohio to find a ton of good cash buyers versus if I try to do if I lock up a deal for 30% below the ARV and the repairs are like decent in Houston, I'm going to find a buyer all day. If I do that in a city in Texas that has 100 people, now like it's like 400 people in the city, like it's going to be very, very difficult to do. Now, there's also good niche markets. Now, here's the problem. Those are my rules. Now, if you want to look up all the markets in virtual wholesaling that meet that criteria below 400,000, median home price and above 100,000 people in the county, there are approximately 120 counties that fit that criteria, maybe 150. You can push up to 200 if you want to go lax with the numbers, but it's almost 10%. But those are all the big metro markets usually that have something, even like Huntsville, Alabama, right? And some counties kind of mix together. So let's call it 10% of all counties fit a good virtual wholesaling market. Now, what you want to understand here is that's just the first part about a good virtual wholesaling market. The other part, and there's this third like invisible hand when it comes to virtual wholesaling, and that's saturation. Now, I'm even hesitant to tell you about saturation because most people just blame saturation on everything, which I think is absolutely I think that's stupid. But a lot of people blame saturation on everything. Yeah, the market's so saturated. It's not. There are very few markets that I've personally found, because I wholesale in a lot of markets, that are too saturated for me. Really, what I found is massive populations are very difficult. That has always been terrible saturation. New York City, Los Angeles, Miami, right? I do struggle in markets like that, Chicago, but there are some larger markets that just always work. And this is going to be like Dallas. Houston's amazing, right? I absolutely love Atlanta, Georgia. North Carolina is amazing. Like there's some larger, Kansas City, Missouri, right? Decent populated. Detroit. Chef's kiss. Love Detroit. The reason why I love Detroit is I don't like the city of Detroit for wholesaling. I like the outskirts still inside of Wayne County because population's over 800,000 and the average home price in Detroit is $70,000. It's good stuff. Really can't beat it. And so virtual wholesaling is all about finding deals where not a lot of wholesalers are going after. Now, one thing that I've always made it a very, very, very clear statement is there's a lot of these TikTok wholesalers, and I'm not making any offense because I have a lot of followers on TikTok. I got a lot of followers on Instagram, and I get a lot of people who like watch my reels, watch my shorts, watch my TikToks. Are like, okay, Zach, I want to make money in real estate just like you without spending any money. Well, I'm like, well, good news is I have no paid course or gimmicky thing. I'll join a call with the team. Like, I don't have that. I just teach you how to wholesale for free. So you send me JV deals. But one thing I do tell you is, yeah, there's no paid course. There's no gotcha there. But the only gotcha is you got to work hard. And a lot of people don't like that. They don't like that part. Now, the thing is, I think about these young kids on TikTok. I'll tell you that, 5-6% of them listen, work hard, then get rich and become successful. A lot of them, they just want to make money really quick and they come in and out of the business pretty quick. But the thing about it is when I tell them pick a virtual wholesaling market, automatically the beginner wholesalers who are virtually doing it always pick cities that they know. So for example, one of my favorite virtual wholesaling markets, which is in my top 25 in freewholesaling.com. Let me actually put a link to freewholesaling.com on here so you see that while I'm talking. So you don't forget freewholesaling.com is Brevard County, Florida. That is where the space launches are. It's absolutely awesome. I went to the beach last week when they had that, or before that, when they had that launch to rescue the people in space. That was so cool watching that launch because I'm like an hour away from that county. And I love watching the space launches ever since I was a kid. It's a cool spot. But that's like where Cape Canaveral, that county. And it's got, not a lot of people know this. Actually, we're live. How many people live in Brevard County, Florida? Does anybody know? Cape Canaveral's in the city. Cocoa, Palm Bay, Melbourne, Florida, West Melbourne, Titusville. Can anybody tell me, just guess, how many people live in Brevard County, Florida? I'm very curious. How many people live in that county? I am extremely curious what you guys think. All right, how many people live in Brevard County, Florida? Don't cheat. I want you to guess. Okay? I want everyone to guess. Okay? I want everyone to guess. Okay, 80,000. All right. We're getting 80,000. All right, 20,000, 80,000. Okay. There's beaches there. So maybe that's sick, right? Let's see. Let's see what guess we have. All right. Okay, let's see the guess. 50,000. So the population of Brevard County, Florida is 643,000 people. That's half of the county where Raleigh or not Raleigh. What's the other one? Raleigh, North Carolina, and Greensboro, like Wake County area. Or Charlotte. I think Charlotte's going to be Mecklenburg, right? Raleigh's going to be the other one. But Mecklenburg's like 1 million people. So this is half of Charlotte, which everyone knows Charlotte, right? But nobody knows about Brevard County. The thing about this is it's like, oh, I didn't know that. It's a very sneaky like stat. Not a lot of people know about that population. Almost 650,000 people in a county that nobody really knows about. Now, I have grandparents that live there. So like, I know like it's actually a really juicy market and I make a lot of money there. But the craziest, let's look at the median home price too. Median home price is 379,000, which is below 400, right? The craziest part about that is nobody knows about that, right? And can I tell you the fact of why nobody knows about that? First of all, because you didn't go to freewholesaling.com. But number two, nobody knows about that because there's no NBA team there. There's no sports team there. There's no hockey team. There is no basketball franchise. There's no NFL team. There's no good college there. Florida Tech, but we're not going to, I mean, I guess it's a gold school, but like, come on. Like, it's not really known about outside of Florida. And like, the thing is, nobody like knows about that, right? Like, let me ask you a question. How many people know about Oklahoma City that if there's no basketball team there? No. How many people know about Oklahoma City if Durant or Russell Westbrook or James Harden never played there? No, honestly, nobody would even think about this at all. No one would even think or bat an eye at that market. And that's the thing about virtual wholesaling. I've always found that the niche markets that have decent populations, like like 650,000 is a lot of people, right? Good populations, decent median home prices in a thriving area where populations keep scarce, so demand's high. The craziest part about it is everyone will flood a market. Everyone, Atlanta, the Hawks play there. There's the Falcons. The average new wholesaler that will flood a market and, quote, saturate it will go to an area where they know there's a sports team. Now, the funniest part is there's places with big populations without big sports teams. Like, I'll even tell you another one. Shelby County, Tennessee. Yes, that's where Memphis, Tennessee is. But NBA is big, NFL is bigger. And the thing is, people know about Memphis, but there's not like a NFL team there either. So it's not as known about as Nashville, Tennessee, or anything like that, right? And so that's kind of roughly where I'm telling everyone to be. Like, you should know, like, think about areas with big populations, no sports team that might be good for wholesaling. Like, no one's really dealing with it. So the reason is because you're going to hit those two criteria. Then you're going to be in a market where there's not a lot of other like virtual wholesaling kids there. Avoid the sports teams because that's all young kids really care about sometimes about geography. And you're going to be Gucci. You're going to be good. You're just going to start getting great deals. That's one of my biggest hacks. Again, I should I give all my hacks out today? I don't know. Maybe I think I go to freelisting.com. Let me give you one more hack I have in freelisting.com. If there's a military town, so if there's a military base near that area and it fits my criteria, it's even juicier. For example, Clarksville, Tennessee has a massive Fort Campbell there. Great for wholesaling real estate. I actually help a lot of people who are active duty military at the base. They are wholesaling in Clarksville. You might be one of them watching this. I help a lot of you guys out there. There's a lot of people in Fayetteville, North Carolina. I only knew about Fayetteville. I say it a lot because of J. Cole. And fun fact, I tried to buy his house on one of his albums on Forest Hill Drive. I don't give out the whole address, but I was trying to buy it, but I still can't buy it. I thought that would be the sickest power move if I owned that house. I think it's 2014, right? Yeah, 2014 Forest Hills Drive. I actually wanted to buy. I wanted to buy that house just to flex. I thought that'd be sick to own it because I could probably own the rights to that name, but I did. But I don't want to give it up. But like, it's like, I know it sounds stupid, but like J. Cole was born there because I think his parents were in the military or something like that. Like, it's a massive population too. I talked about this market like 5 years ago here on YouTube. This is why you just win in virtual wholesaling. Now, I will tell you this. I have like 5-6 mini markets. I don't want to tell anyone because I'm absolutely crushing it right now. I'll probably reveal it in 2026 because it'll probably get found. But I'm just telling you guys, like, this is how you find the best markets, right? Nobody wants to tell you this. This is all within paid communities and stuff, but I give it out absolutely for free. Now, how do we start doing deals? How do we market to these type of sellers? How do we get deals in virtual wholesaling marketing? Well, it's pretty simple, right? Virtual wholesaling marketing is all about what you can afford, right? And so in virtual wholesaling, there are two types of currencies. There are, first and foremost, number one, there is your time. That is probably the most common currency and probably the one most beginners can only afford. They can't really afford the other currency, which is money, right? I think everyone knows those are the two currencies in wholesaling real estate. We'll talk about virtual wholesaling, but those are the only two currencies you can do. Now, when you have no money, you can only use time. Now, What type of marketing can we do if we have no money, but we have time? Well, for Wholesaling.com, obviously, we teach about how to get deals for free when you have no money, and then other ways you can kind of go up from here, right? What I would tell you is cold calling on Google Voice using government lists is going to be the most effective way for anyone to get their first virtual wholesaling deal. I wish I could tell you something different. I wish I could tell you like a fake like way. I wish I could tell you this other but this is by far the really only way for the vast majority of people to get the first virtual wholesaling deal. And it's kind of depressing that people know it, but they still won't do it. And so the one thing I will always tell everyone to do is get a government list. So this could be your code violations, your probates, your fire damage properties, arrest records, whatever it is. I give that list absolutely for free, by the way. And I know this, I feel like I'm promoting, I feel like I'm trying to sell you this course and I feel dirty. Like the course is like $4,000 or $5,000, but like it's absolutely free. Once you're in the course, all you have to do, and this is free, like within the next 15 seconds, you can get access to this, right? But we got 24,600 people. So shout out to 24,600 of my best friends out here. But if you go here, I have this pinned and I just have a spreadsheet. This spreadsheet shares the top government lists and how to pull them absolutely for free. Now, I legally can't sell government data. It's actually illegal to do. So I give it out for free. This is the plug. Now, right here is a map. And this is right now the map of all the government data that I can give out to everyone for free. Guys, this is, I know this looks just normal. The amount of game right here is insane. This is all freewholesaling.com, by the way, right? But like, if you want to get the data, let's say here in Chattanooga, Tennessee, I have it, right? So here's the spreadsheet. If I want to get code violations, to right, you just press it, you get the data set right. Santa Rosa County, if I want to get the probates right. If I want to get code violations, probates in Norfolk, Virginia, it's right there. Like, guys, this is insane what I'm giving out to the people. And the thing about it is in the free wholesaling community. It's all in there. But there are people today, I will literally give you this all for free. I won't charge you. I will give it to you for free. I am begging everybody on the stream to just go out here and do it. You know why? Because you get a deal, you send it to sellmypaper.com, and then I get a ton of money. Okay. Then I go make $20,000, $30,000 splitting a 40 grand deal with you, and it's just money in my bank. Like I already told you my little scheme here. It's not here to sell you coaching or to be in my community course thing. It's just so you can go get wholesaling deals. And then you send it to me and we'll both make money together. That's the thing. It's pretty dang cool. So virtual wholesaling marketing, number one, I would say pulling a government list like that, which costs no money, and then going out here and cold calling them. Now, you can also SMS text blast. Pretty dang cool, right? Now, how do you SMS text blast? You can use Google Voice to go send text out, and then you're good to go. Now, the hardest part about virtual wholesaling marketing when it comes to cold calling and texting is going to be, first and foremost, it's the skip tracing. By far, that is the most difficult part of free marketing when it comes to getting wholesaling real estate deals, is skip tracing. Because let's say it takes 1,000 probate calls to get a deal. It's probably more like 500, 600. Okay, well, I got to go get their phone number. This is the hardest part because you have to go copy the address, paste it into True People Search, paste it into cyber background check. So again, freewholesaling.com, we tell you like the best free skip tracing sites is cyberbackgroundchecks.com and truepeoplesearch.com. Now, there is a solution to this that you can just go bulk import, 5, 6, 7, 1,000 leads all at once. And it's called X leads, right? X leads, right? And for, I think $97 a month, you get 15,000 skips, you get 15,000 records, you get an e-signing, you get all this stuff, right? But starting tomorrow, we're doing something cool. But everyone knows. I think everyone knows what I'm hinting at. But starting tomorrow, that problem should go away. But I don't want to get into it, right? That's all I can say. Just go to X. If you're watching this after the live stream's over, just go to xleads.com. You know exactly what I'm talking about. But what I'll tell you is skip tracing the hardest part. I recommend you go to XLeads. So you just bulk import, go from there. And yeah, that's all you can do. But yeah, I would say XLeads. That's how you skip trace it. And you can go out here and get it done. Now, this is cold calling and texting. Are there other ways to get virtual wholesaling deals? Yes. They get more difficult, right? They get way more difficult. Now, one of the ways to get a virtual wholesaling deal without calling or texting is probably one of my favorite options is going to be just kind of having friends do a little work for you. Now, what I mean by this is I also have a free wholesaling Discord. It's called zachdiscord.com. It is the largest Discord community about wholesaling real estate ever. Like it's way bigger than anyone other. And the cool part about it is you can get in a community with like 20,000 other like wholesalers, right? And the cool part about it is you can go just hang out with other people. So for example, if I am in that community, I chose my virtual wholesaling market to be Atlanta, Georgia. I can find other people in Atlanta, Georgia who maybe they don't want to cold call. And I might tell them, hey, why don't you drive for dollars? You give me this list. I'll skip trace it. I'll go get X leads. I'll go skip trace it. And then from there, I will cold call the data for you. I just need you to drive for dollars for me. It's another way to get a deal. You can do Zillow for sale by owners. You can do JVs to a point. Now, one of my other favorite options is what I call digital bandit signs. Digital bandit signs, by far one of the best free ways. You just post in Facebook groups and on Craigslist to get inbound seller leads. Absolutely one of my favorite ways. It costs no money. I feel like I am trying to sell you my $5,000 course, even though the course is absolutely for free. But in the classroom community, this is because we have almost 25,000 people in there. But if you go here to the Digital Bandit Sign Academy, I legitimately have a free course on how to go post digital bandit signs. It's absolutely a free course. How to post digital bandit signs. Like you can't really beat it, right? I mean, come on. You can't really beat that at all. Come on. But that's how you go from there, and you can go start doing deals from it. Now, that is all you probably start doing with free marketing. Now, I'm not here to throw shade. You know, I'm a grown up now. I've decided I'm not going to throw my shade, but like, it still drives me crazy, and I feel like I'm complaining. But outside this YouTube channel, and outside of really outside of me and Rick, if you have no money at all to your name, nobody else is going to teach you how to wholesale houses. And still to this day, it's kind of embarrassing. Nobody's willing to just man up. But everyone is trying to charge you tens of thousands of dollars how to learn wholesale real estate. And if they say you have no money, you're screwed. Now, you're going to see this on other reels. Your algorithm is going to be fit with other wholesalers and a lot of newbies and a lot of new like coaches. And that's like whatever, right? I like a lot of the new guys. They're pretty cool. But they're all going to tell you, how do you get successful in wholesaling or virtual wholesaling? Oh, bro, just spend $7,000 a month in marketing, and then you'll have success. This is how you this is just how the players. This is how you can be a success. That's the only way to become successful. Spend $7,000. Guys, I say screw that. I really say I hate when people say that. It drives me crazy. No, you are literally telling people who have no money, no chance of success, no chance to get out of poverty, that the only way you get rich is by giving me $6,000 on my coaching group, and now you have to spend $7,000 in marketing. Guys, if you spend $7,000 on VAs and cold calling systems, sure, you're going to do great. You're going to get leads. You're going to make a ton of money. But do you got $7,000? I remember starting this business at 17 years old with $300 in my bank account. I did not have $7,000 a month to spend. And at 17, just being honest, I probably would have just blew that $7,000 in marketing and not knowing what to do, right? So the craziest part about this is you should really start kind of on free methods and then go up from there. Now, what are some paid ways to also virtual wholesale? Well, I kind of look at it as a tiered system or a tiered process. I think first and foremost, you should just start cold calling for free. Use free skip tracing. I'll go to XLeads starting tomorrow. Should I say what it is? Should I say what it is? I'll say at the end of this live stream. Okay, I'll say at the end of this live stream if you stick to the end. But I will only say it if this video, let's see how many likes we have on the stream right now. Let's see how many okay, we have if we get 100 likes, I'll tell everyone. All right, we got 100 likes on this video. All right. If every single person watching this liked it, we'd already destroy. We have 160, it says. 100 no. If I add everything, it's like 100 200 people if I add Instagram and TikTok. If you're on TikTok, Instagram, go to Zakin on YouTube. And if they get us 100 likes, I'll go say what it is. But it's free, by the way, for everyone, but whatever. Virtual wholesaling marketing. Okay. You should start doing the free stuff, cold calling and texting for free. Then once you get your first wholesaling deal, if you get your first wholesaling deal, I would say once you get that first assignment, then I would go invest in X Leads. It would be $97 a month for the basic plan. You can get $81 for the annual. And then from there, I would probably start SMS text blasting. I think that's one of my favorite ways to do it because with SMS text blasting, it would probably cost you roughly $8 to send 1,000 texts out, which I think is a pretty dang good deal. I think $8 to send 1,000 texts out is pretty good. So if you spend $100, spend $100, $100 would be about 11,000 texts. Okay, think about that for a second. I sent about 11,000 texts. I think $88 in marketing for 11,000 texts, probably the best one. You can have AI do the texting for you on X Leads. That's pretty good. Now, you could also spend like $40 a month on a dialer. X Leads has their own dialer in there. And the reason I made X Leads is so you can start getting the best software for the cheapest price. The reason I made X Leads, I'm not trying to make this a promo, but the reason I did make X Leads is everyone's used to paying $97 a month for like 90, maybe $100 a month for a wholesaling software, which good data. I found out those data companies were just using other, like they were basically licensing out real estate data from the big dogs, like billion-dollar corporations, and just buying data from them. I found out that I could just buy data from the big dogs and I can just also give the savings off to you guys. And so I decided to make a wholesaling software company that literally runs on $0 margins. And like after everything, right? There's margins, but like after paying everything and $0 margins and make it as cheap as possible. So $97, it's got free unlimited skip tracing. If you want to find a software that's free unlimited skip tracing that is not X Leads, the cheapest one would be $130 a month, I think. $120. So the cheapest option is another $25 a month. And it also has a go high level system called Ninja Mode. It also has e-signing. It's got all that, but like I don't want to get into all that today. But the thing about it is I would probably invest $140 a month in marketing after you get a deal. And then from there, you could probably pay $500 a month in extra cold calling, get a triple line dial, go crazy. Then after that, you get VAs, and then you get those, and then you get in the other stuff. There is plenty of other stuff. You can do direct mail, you can do SEO, you can do pay-per-click, you can do all these different things, right? But the one thing I would let everybody know here is even if you were going to pay for Ninja Mode, most people, that's a go high level system. Most people pay $150 a month for a go high level system, and then they pay for another system for $99. But whatever, I'm not getting it. But like the one thing I'll tell everyone is you should just spend the money when you get a deal. Don't be dropping money if you don't have it, right? That's one thing I'll tell everyone. Now, there's a couple of things you can pay for, which I will get into when we come to the acquisition section. But for just getting a deal, guys, like just cold call. I don't know why, but like people are just they have such massive fears of cold calling. It's insane. It's insanity to me. Why are you so scared of cold call? Like, what is the problem with cold calling? It costs no money. It only will benefit you. And if somebody says something mean to you, well, screw them. Guys, I get trolls and haters all day. And sometimes you get trolls that aren't even trolls. They're like actual real people who like say like insane things about me. Like, I don't care, because they'll never say it to my face. But the craziest part is if you just want to get a deal, I'm telling you, everyone's like, pump up the likes. I got 163 people on YouTube. Get it to 100. We got to know what Zach's saying. I'm not saying it. I'm a man of my word. If it ain't 100, I ain't going to say it. If it's 100, though, I will say it. Okay. So I would say cold calling, texting, and then I'd use X leads for anything above that once you want to start spending some money. Some people, I will tell you this. Now, I'm not trying to get you to go out. Yeah, I was going live on Instagram. My backup phone died. So we're only live on TikTok and YouTube right now. But the one thing I will let everybody know is those are the tiers. Now, if you have 40 hours a week, or at least if you have 40 hours a week, if you're wholesaling full time, if you're working a job full time, and you can put an extra 40 hours, like do without spending money. If you only have 20 hours, I'd probably get X leads and spend some money, because the reason is it saves you time, because the copying pasting on cyber background checks does get pretty old pretty quick. But yeah, that is how you get deals on the virtual wholesaling side, right? That's how you get on the virtual wholesaling side. All right, 20 likes. Let's keep going. All right. Now, there are once you start getting leads and start getting deals, there are now 3 steps to closing virtual wholesaling sellers. Once you actually get people that say, yes, I want to sell my property, we need to close them. Now, a lot of people think I have this crazy like sales closing process when it comes to virtual wholesaling. And, I always reflect on not just what I say, but what I do. And for the past couple months, I kind of gone back of like how I close people virtually. And I realize it's not even more of a process or a formula. It's more of just kind of a feel. And what I mean by this is there's certain things I always do before I give an offer virtually. But outside of that, it's more about just making an offer when the offer's right, right? So the first thing I always do, and this is a non-negotiable for me, when I deal with off-market sellers that you deal with that are just like from outbound or inbound marketing, I will always qualify them. I will always make sure that they do want to sell the property. They actually have some sort of motivation. And then I'm going to condition them before I give the offer. The reason why I always condition somebody, and this has always been taken, some people don't like it, some people do like it. I don't really care. I mean, that's just the way I do it. And I do have the largest wholesaling community in the country. And I also have the largest army of people who actually do deals. There's nobody else community that I'm just going to be honest with you. There's not one community that has closed more sellers in 2025 than my community. Like if you look at the actual numbers, you will not beat me. Because let's say, for example, you have 1,000 people in your paid community and they've all closed a deal this year. That's 1,000 closers, big dog. Congratulations. But I have over 250,000 people in my communities combined. Big dog, it's 1,000 a day. But I ain't going to get there. I ain't going to get there on the big dogs. But the thing about it is my community closes more sellers than any other community. So I think mine's the best, but that's selfish, but it's just the truth. So the reason I do it is because it gives the best results. Now, what I do by conditioning seller is before I give an offer, I just want to make sure they are ready to make a decision. Now, a lot of people, when they close sellers, they go out here and they basically make sure the decision makers are there. And that's smart. But what I do is, like, for example, if you're calling somebody, like her name's Sarah Sue, you'll ask Sarah Sue if she's married. And it's like, well, is your husband there? Can I talk to both of you? Because we know usually if you're married, you want to make the decision together. Now, you always want to make sure decision makers there. That's like closing 101, right? Duh. I think every closing process has this. But the one thing that not a lot of people know is you're also supposed to go out here that I do. I want to make sure that the seller is ready to make the decision for themselves has been made. So you want to go to decision makers, but you want to make sure the seller has already made the decision to sell. I know that sounds kind of corny, but the worst possible thing you can do in a negotiation is if they say, okay, I want to sell the house for $150,000. You'll say, okay, well, I don't think the numbers work well here. because of, maybe you want to bring out a comp. I probably don't say bring out a comp, but maybe you want to do it. Hey, because I see some areas, maybe I talk to my partner. Maybe I'm the only guy here. I don't want to use the partner. I would have to buy this for 140. The the worst possible scenario. I'm going live. Does anybody know what is the worst thing a seller can say if you say, maybe I can do 140? What is the worst possible thing a seller can say in this conversation in virtual wholesaling? I'm very curious because I need y'all to wake up, because I get the PTSD in my brain is popping off right now. I'm about to crash out. I do these one-on-ones. And I go, Zach, I got a deal, and the person said this. And then they go, wah, wah, wah. What's the worst thing? What? F you, bro. F you. Dude, do you know how many... Okay, let me be honest with you. If somebody tells me to, go F yourself, screw you, dude. Like, I could care less. Like, honestly, I have to care. I don't care because you don't know me. So you saying mean things about me without even truly knowing me as a person, I could care less. I always say this. If you say something mean to me, I'm always going to do this one thing. I'm always going to say, well, my mom thinks I'm cool. And everyone thinks I'm like joking, but like I'm not joking. Like, my mom knows me way better than you, and she thinks I'm a pretty cool person. My dog thinks I'm an awesome person, and my dog hangs out with me more than you. So I have to go with their judgment over your judgment. Here's the thing. This is how I deal with online hate. I get a ton, but mostly from realtors and people that sell wholesaling coaching courses. Like, exclusively. The only people that give me hate on the internet usually are realtors and people that sell wholesaling coaching. That's where I get all my hate from. That's it. Those are the only two people that hate me. They're either in a wholesaling coaching program and their coach told them to hate me. So, okay, people that are inside of a wholesaling coaching program hate me. People who run the wholesaling coaching program hate me. And number 3 are realtors. Those are pretty much the only 3 people that ever hate me. And that's a pretty small population because not a lot of people are buying courses anymore. So I always tell my mom thinks I'm cool. And then they always say, oh yeah, at number 4, and the software companies. They actually all hate me too. Number 4. Trust me. I talked to a lot of lawyers last week because they I don't want to get into it. A lot of these software companies they're a lot. I found out software companies have a lot more money than wholesaling coaches. I found that out, and they love sicking lawyers on me. So number 4, 4th. But the thing about it is, I'm always like, well, my mom thinks I'm cool, and what I mean by that is, my mom knows me better than you, and I default. And so, if a person who runs a wholesaling coaching program says, "I hate you, F you," I'm always going to say, well, if I go, oh no, like, if I did that, then that means I value that wholesaling coach's opinion over my own mom's opinion of me. And that's embarrassing because I value my mom's opinion over that person. So if they think I'm cool and the coach thinks I'm stupid, I could care less. And so that's how I deal with hate. That's how you should deal with hate. If somebody you look up to thinks you're awesome, maybe your dad, your mom, I don't care, your dog, your sister, spouse, your kids, you should care less what somebody online has to say. And if somebody has an agenda to hate you, for example, if a Republican is mean to a Democrat, the Democrat doesn't feel offended because they're a Republican. They have their agenda. If a Democrat is mean to a Republican, the Republican is going to say, well, this Democrat has an agenda against me. It's, if I'm a Miami Dolphins fan, and so if a New York Jets fan says I suck, it's like, well, you have an agenda. You're a Jets fan. But I'm not getting the psychology of haters today. That's for a different day. But the thing about it is, just don't be dealing with it. But the one thing I will let you know is you're going to be the only people that curse at you. Okay. So that is not the worst part. Let's go back to base. Let's go back to base camp. What is the worst possible thing? Oh, maybe. So I say, would you take, could you do 140,000? Maybe. I'll think about it. What do you do? How do you close a seller that does that? I'm genuinely curious, guys. Let me know in the comments. What do you say? Let me think about it overnight with my wife. Okay. Yes, sir. Guess what happens, guys? If you're an experienced wholesaler, what happens when that what happens when that happens? Please tell me. Please tell me. I'm begging you. What happens when that 9 out of 10 times the seller calls another wholesaler, gets a higher offer, and then they just ghost you? Sometimes you get the deal. That's how it always happens. And so what I do, you never hear from them again. That is what I personally, this is just my truth. Okay. They don't answer you. That's what I found. So what I do is I condition them. Now, this does not guarantee that this happens, right? It doesn't guarantee they say, well, I have to think about it, but it cuts the chance of them doing that by half. And that's all that you really need to do. And so what this is you basically condition them. And by conditioning them, you basically say, hey, Mr. Seller, before I give you an offer, I don't want to waste your time. I don't want to waste my time. I'm just making sure, are you ready to make a yes or no decision on selling the property before we go forward? Before we start talking about numbers, are you ready to make a yes or no decision? It's that simple. That is, guys, do you know why I came up with this? Or Rick came up with this. And he told me about it, and it changed my life. You know why I decided to always do this every single time? Because back when I was a young lad, I was about 19, 20 years old, like roughly. I graduated college. I just turned 19. I graduated college. So graduate college at 19 years old, come back, start going ham and in-person wholesaling, start working with Rick. I'm 19 years old, right? Just graduated college. And I'm like, okay, I have this sick appointment. I drive an hour and a half to this house. It's a probate. I'm like foaming at the mouth. I'm like, oh, I'm so excited, right? I'm going to make $80,000. I drive to the house, an hour and a half. Okay, I'm blasting music. I'm having a good time. I'm feeling good. I go there. I give an offer, and they say, I'll think about it. Can you come by tomorrow? And I'm in the corner like, yeah, no problem, bro. No problem. Drive an hour and a half back home. Call the guy back up in the morning before I drive back. He says, he don't pick up the phone. Time kills all deals. I wasted 3 hours of my life doing that. And when I found out you could condition a seller, and I found out that worked really well, I never, ever didn't do it again, because the pain of driving an hour and a half from a deal that wasn't even a no, it was a maybe. The maybes are literally the worst. I would rather say no. Okay, you said no to my $140,000 offer. Ball's now in your court. Because when a seller says no, they have an opportunity to tell you why they're at no, and we can find a solution. It's negotiating. But the maybe shuts the negotiation off, and you're done. So this is why I always condition the seller. I know it's a very long speech, but that is why I always negotiate, and I always condition them. Please just do it. It will save your life. And number 2, I just make the offer. So there's a lot of offers you can make. You can just go out here and just spitball a number. You can go spitball a super low ball offer. You can use the dollar bill method, which is just like, hey, Mr. Seller, how much would you want to sell the house for, right? Like you basically go for what price do they want to get? You get their price first. I don't know. You give me an offer. You came here. Okay. Well, I mean, you want to take $1 for the house, right? No, I wouldn't sell the house for $1. I'm like, yeah, duh. So that means you have a price in mind then. Yes. Well, what's the price? I don't know. Give me an offer. I'm like, well, okay. I'll give you $1 for the house. Let's be serious. Well, like I'm trying to figure out like what, $2, $3, $4? Give me a serious one. I mean, I don't know, like $6? Like I'll write a contract right now for $6. Be serious. Okay, what, $10,000? Like, give me a price that works because I want to buy this thing for the lowest I possibly can. You want for the like? Give me something. $10,000, huh? Would that work for you? No, like no, I need 100,000. Oh, can you do 80? And you go from there, right? Now, one of my personal favorite closing lines is a good cop, bad cop method. Now, the reason why I love the good cop, bad cop method is because this is a real method that I used when I was 19 years old with Rick. Now, when I was 19, Rick used to go in the podio and he used to put in the podio what is the MAO that he kind of thought the house was worth. Now, my MAO is always lower than his for some reason because I'm kind of more conservative on my numbers. But I would write, okay, MAO is 100,000. He would write MAO like 120. And what I would always do is he would also write something called like offer like 80 grand, right? MAO 120, offer 80 grand starting out. And so what I would go pop up the podium before I go in the house. I'm like, okay, well, Rick says, 80 grand first offer. I'm like, okay, cool. And then I go there and I say, well, I was talking to my partner, Rick, and he told me he wanted to buy the house around $80,000. I'd shut up and see what they said. Well, that's way too low. I know Rick's crazy. Why do you think I'm here? I'm the decision maker. Rick just looked over the numbers for me and he just gave me a second opinion. He said 80, but I'm the one who makes the decisions. I'm the one that cuts the check here. And then, well, I can't do that. I'm like, oh, what price works for you? Why do you think I'm here? Rick will try to buy it for $1 and a can of Coke. And, I make it a joke, and it always works if you have the good report the seller, where they say 80,000. I can do that. Oh, that's Rick. Rick's crazy. He wants to buy it for the highest. That's why. And that has always worked really well for me. The reason why is it was so genuine because Rick always wrote in the podio what he'd be at. So if you have a partner, maybe it's a JV partner, they can write what the MAO is, and then you're not lying. I get a lot of people that tell me, Zach, you're using like a fake underwriter. I'm like, it's not a fake like Rick literally underwrote the deal for me, and he told me where he wanted to be at it. So when I did, it was never lying. So just have a partner write it physically if that's like your thing. If someone physically has to write in the podium before I can give an offer like that. If that makes you feel good at night, sure. But like, do whatever you want. I tell people just use the X Leads wholesale offer and say that Zach came up with it. Cause anything that says wholesale offer on X Leads, that's my sign of approval. And I'd just do that. Like I don't think it's that big of a deal, but yeah, that's how I'd be doing it. Then from there, what I do is right when you get an offer signed, you get it signed. Now that is that good cop, bad cop is what I do in person. It's also what you do virtually. Now, there's only one key distinction that I would say in virtual wholesaling offers than in regular in-person wholesaling offers. That is on the first, you do one call, you can do one call, one close in virtual wholesaling. In person, my closing system is a little different. I believe you should not be on the phone. You shouldn't do one call and try to close them if it's in person. Virtual wholesaling, you can do, if it's an inbound lead, I would say that you can do one call, one close in virtual wholesaling. That is definitely something you can do. And I do want to clarify. I think a lot of people get confused. Virtual wholesaling, you do one call, one close. That is completely fine with me. The one thing you want to do is first, you want to condition them. And number two is once in virtual wholesaling, the seller accepts the offer, you need to stay on the phone with the seller. Hey, wake up, sleepyhead. Okay. Don't be falling asleep on this. This is very important. I crashed out on a dude this week on Discord because he did this. He was crying to me on Discord. Oh, Zach, I lost the deal. And I'm like, what did you do, bro? And he just did it. He didn't follow this rule. So what he did was, this is my dead phone from Instagram. Here's the other one, right? This is my, this is the Instagram live phone. I got two phones. I'm like, I'm like Tony Montana over here. But use this fake phone, right? It's dead. But what he did is, Mr. Seller, 140? Okay, great. Except what I'm going to do is I'm going to send you an email contract for you to sign the contract. Okay, I'll call you back in 5 minutes. And they went, they're going out here, they're writing the contract up. And, first of all, that's rookie mistake number one, which I'll tell you why that's rookie mistake number one. And then they get it signed. They send it over DocuSign. That's what he said he used. And he called the seller back up, didn't answer. That's weird. He went on DocuSign and said the guy looked at it, but he didn't sign it. And the guy's not answering anymore. And it ends up he lost the deal. And then he comes crying to me. And this guy's coming crying to me. He thinks I'm going to say, oh, I'm so sorry. Like, that's what he literally wants me to, like, hold him and say, oh, it's okay. It's okay. You did so good. No, you messed up, bro. Dude, come on. What you got to do instead is on the phone. And this is like, I know they're like little tweaks here and there, but it makes the world of a difference. Okay. World of a difference. What you do is you call here and say, hey, do you do 140,000? Yeah, you can do 100. Okay, great. What I'm going to do is I'm going to send you over our agreement, and it's going to be over email. You can click to sign, and it's all going to go to the title company. Be good for there. Now, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to stay on the phone with you, and I'm going to make sure that you can read it over and let me know what you think. And if you have any questions, I'm going to stay on the phone and hear what you have to say. If you have any questions at all, then you stay on the phone with the guy. And it is painful. Like, if you're dealing with somebody who's like 54 years old, Rick's 55, so he's going to get mad if he ever sees this. Make sure he never sees this, okay? Okay, make sure he doesn't see this live stream. But some people may be 6 years old. They're a little slow with the e-signing. You just got to be patient. Okay? Stay on the phone. They answer, what's an inspection period? You got to answer them. You have to. Because if you don't answer the objection, he's going to think it's a scam and boom, get off the phone. Because he just doesn't know. Now, then you get them to sign it, you're good to go. Boom. Simple as that. Now, what I will tell you to do is everyone uses DocuSign, and that's like 30. How much is DocuSign? I don't actually know. I think it's like 30, it's 25, 30, 40 bucks a month. I will say if you go to xleads.com, you get e-signing for free on there. So I would just use xleads for virtual wholesaling e-signing. Come on, you get the e-signing for free. And you can go out here and just make an offer, get it e-signed, and then boom, now it's signed. Step 3, we're going to get a boots on the ground. Now, boots on the ground is another interesting one. A lot of people want me, so you do need to physically have somebody go to the property and take a picture of it. So you get the pictures, send it to the buyer, make sure it's a good deal. Now, there are free and paid ways to do this. Number 1, Zach, I have no money. Okay. There are 2 ways when you're broke to get boots on the ground. Number 1, you can have the seller take a picture of the house for you for free, or you can have somebody from just the goodness of their own heart go out, drive 30 minutes to a guy's house and take a picture of the property and just give it to you just to be a bro. What are the chances somebody's going to do that for free? Milton Friedman always says this, and he says there's no free lunch. It is completely true. Okay? There's no free lunch out here. And so, yeah, you would have to go out here and pay someone to send a boots on the ground. Now, the only way you're going to get somebody to go out there for free to give you pictures of the house as a boots on the ground and to walk the seller and the buyer through with the seller is if you have a JV partner. And so this is why I'm massive on community. This is why I have a large wholesaling community. It's called freewholesaling.com. You probably didn't know it's called freewholesaling.com, but it is called freewholesaling.com. And I have a massive wholesaling Discord, the largest wholesaling Discord on the internet, ZachDiscord.com. I'm going to scroll on the bottom for a second so we know what they're called. So the Discord's called ZachDiscord.com, and the community is called freewholesaling.com. Okay, cool. And they're all in the description of the YouTube video, by the way. But okay, if you have no money, you can have somebody be a boots on the ground. They'll drive to the house, I had a lot of people, I had a guy, he was struggling to get a buyer out here in this weird area in New York, this weird city. And I just went in the Discord, said, hey, anybody here can JV with him and be boots on the ground? We had a guy in the community because we have like 24,000 people in freeholsing.com. One person's going to say, yeah, I live there, because it's insane. You know what? Let's talk about this for a second. This is freeholsing.com. We have a feature in here called the map feature. All right. You go to map feature right here, because we almost have 25,000 people. So if you name a city in the United States, okay? So if I have a deal and I have to virtually wholesale in Lexington, Kentucky, I could contact any of these community members in Lexington, Kentucky. Rashia, A, Kyle Howard, Amari, Parker, Stacy, two Stacys, and Rob, right? And I guarantee if I could click here and just DM Rob, I bet Rob would go out here and be a boots on the ground for me on a JV deal. And he could be my free boots on the ground. Now, how do I get a JV contract? Well, go to Classroom, scroll down here to scripts and workshops. Here's our closing date extension addendum. But I'd go to JV agreement and just use my free JV agreement, go to X Leads for the e-signing, and boom, you'll be good to go. Done. Simple as that. And then you get a boots on the ground. Now, you can also pay for a boots on the ground. They may $50-$60 a month. You can do like a gig site, BPO photography services, right? Those are good too. And you can pay someone $50-$60 for a boots on the ground pictures. I do that because I don't want to give up half my deal, but I can afford to do it. Most people can't, but once you start getting deals, you can afford to do it. Yes, you can. So I'd go out here and then send in the boots on the ground, take the pics, and then from there, you go dispo it. Now, I get asked a lot, Zach, how do you pick out your virtual wholesaling offer? Well, I personally will tell you that you should just use AI. It's just way easier. And how do you do that? Well, I have a free AI offer calculator. Oh, Lord, I'm going to get in trouble. It's in freeholsing.com. I think everyone does know that. But let me show you. So it's right here. And actually, let me give everyone the link to it. It's in freeholsing.com, but it's my free. Here it is. So here it is. There's the link to it. It's absolutely free, but I'm not getting the whole thing. But pretty much what you do is you just throw in the repairs on this AI thing. You throw in the repairs, you throw in the Zillow link, you throw in the bedrooms with the condition stuff in there. It generates a summary to send to AI. Then you have your MAO calculator. So if you find out MAO is $325, you find out repairs is $60,000. The MAO calculator will automatically calculate that the MAO is $238. That's the most you should offer. And your LAO, your your initial offer should be $166. And then the most you should take for the deal is $238,500. By the way, this is absolutely for free. It's all on freeholsing.com, right? I'm trying to give you all the games so you can start sending me good JV deals. Insane. Crazy to me. Boom. That's how I do it. And then from there, from dispositions, it's actually pretty simple. How do you go find buyers? I think Facebook groups is one of my favorite ways to find cash buyers right now when you have no money. You can make posts in Facebook groups. On top of that, too, another good way to find cash buyers is by JVing. I would be in the communities. Obviously, we do a live Discord call every single Friday night, only in the Discord. We do accountability calls. We have everyone in the. We have a voice chat and a voice lounge where everyone's just hanging out. There's always like 10, 15 people every night just hanging out talking. It's the best. And the coolest part about it is you have a lot of people that know people that have buyers, right? I call it the ICAG method, the I know a guy. And, I go in the chat here, right? We got Luca in here, right? Luca's one of the best JV partners. I think it's jvwithluca.com. But like if I have a deal locked up in Dallas or Georgia, I just go to Luca and he has buyers. And then he'll split the deal with me 50-50 and boom, deal sold. Done. Like it's that easy. Like I no joke. Like Juan, he's the 105th like, so I guess I have to expose my secret. But Juan's over, I believe is in Houston, right? If I lock up a deal and I live in Lithuania, I will probably be able to DM Juan on Discord. Juan, let me know if you'll do this. If I'm in Lithuania and I have a deal locked up virtually, I bet Juan will go physically drive to the house in his fake Rolex. I'm exposing him. If you go on the Discord, we always make we always have a good time in the community. But he's gonna beat me up. He's way taller than me. But he'll go to the oh, I'm cracking myself up. He's gonna kill me. But yeah, he'll physically go out to the house and then he will go probably do boots on the ground. He'll probably has buyers and he'll JV with you. Done. And he's a guy I don't think he'll screw you because he's in the community so much. If he screws somebody, he'll get kicked out. So I don't think he's going to do it. But the thing about it is finding buyers JV is awesome. Now, you can also go to the for rent section, go cold call the for rents. You can use realtors. Now, if you use a software like X Leads, you can pull cash sales. You can even use the investor leads section, which you have the Pro X plan. You can find buyers doing that. There's so many ways to find buyers. I'd probably use X Leads for the paid version of it. But honestly, like, cold call the for rents, Facebook groups, you'll be good to go, right? And then you'll be able to just do well. Then use the boots on the ground for the cash buyer walkthrough. Then you get the e-signed of the assignment of contract. Then you're virtually wholesaling houses, baby. That's how you do it. It's seriously that easy. It's that easy. I don't know what else I can tell you. That is how you virtually wholesale real estate step by step. Oh my